Hello, I'm Lori Steiner, sitting in for Armin Budish. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, we'll work out how exercise benefits your back. Then, we've gathered together great ways to give without being generous to a fault. We'll prescribe a healthy dose of medical news you can use. Plus, we'll share the latest happenings regarding your health insurance coverage. And how to avoid leaving your heirs a legal mess in this new digital age.
It's time to get geoing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. You already know that for health's sake, movement needs to be mandatory. But did you know regular exercise can also benefit your back? Dr. Noel Abboud is here with details on how a daily dose of fitness fundamentals can help align your spine. Dr. Abboud is with the Solon Spine and Wellness Center. So welcome to the show again. Now we know exercise is good for muscles and our lungs and our heart, but how in the world does it help a bad back?
Great question, but think of blood flow. Because blood flow, it carries oxygen, and so the discs, the cartilage material in between each vertebrae, doesn't get much blood flow. The only way it gets blood flow is through movement, bending, lifting, twisting, and walking. So if we are sedentary or still, those discs begin to literally shrivel up and dry out.
Oh man, so I suppose summer is the time to be talking about this, huh? So what if we're already feeling stiff, we have some pain, won't it hurt our backs to move more?
It's so counterintuitive. Have you ever been on the couch and you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do anything except just sit here and watch TV?
Yeah, every weekend.
Right. But then if you ever, someone dragged you up and you got up and got moving, you feel great afterwards. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's a signal that our body needs movement, is when we're feeling lethargic and still and stiff and sore. Because that will bring, it's almost like it brings lubrication into the spine.
Okay. I know that you talked to me earlier about a twig in the winter and in the summer. I think that's a really great
Think of it, in the winter you would just break that twig and it will snap and break, but in the summer it's pliable. And that's what we tell our patients. Stiff is old, flexible is young. So do everything that you can to stay flexible, movement, exercises, anything to do that, and avoid stillness.
Okay, so what movement regimen do you recommend?
You pick it, Lori. It's whatever is good. Walking, swimming, biking. We all know. I think our average viewer out there knows what they need to be doing. It's just a matter of finding maybe a buddy that will help you to stay motivated to work out with you, or getting a regime, a book, a video program, an app on your phone, something that will remind you to get out and move every day.
No matter what that movement may be.
True.
Just build it into your day. Any other tips that you have for beginning this new trend and keeping it going?
Well, I think one of the things, we say that nerves flow because of electricity, and so water transmits electricity, and if we are not drinking enough water, our nerve flow isn't good enough. So it's so important to drink a lot of water. That hydrates our body, it makes our skin look better, it keeps our muscles pliable, it lubricates our joints, it makes everything work better. So if there's one magical pill I could give you, it'd be water.
A bottle of water everywhere you go, huh?
Yeah, and just carry it with you. Get in, you see you can fix it on your belt, you can put it at your desk while you're working, just keep it near you.
They make them pretty simple these days. So finally, what if we've been on the bench for a really long time? We actually have real pain issues. Should we check with our doctor first before beginning anything?
I think that's smart, is to have someone check you out. And our typical patient that comes in is someone who, you'll see them in the grocery store hunched over, leaning on a cart, or they can't walk very long, or their back hurts. Those are the patients that have had that pain for so long. What we do is we sit down with them, we get a history, we find out how long have you had the problem, what type of doctors have you seen, we'll look at your MRIs, and then we can come up with a game plan and say, yeah, I can help you, or no, I can't.
Okay.
And at least we'll find a way to help them.
We're going to try. So movement and movement. That's it.
Absolutely.
So we're summing this up. This summer, get your activity on. Then follow through in the fall and keep working on it in the winter. By getting you back into motion, and you'll get your back into action, and you'll find you're more pliable and you'll be feeling great. For more help, give Dr. Abboud a call. His number is coming up next.
Learn more by calling Solon Spine and Wellness Center at 440-941-9331 or log on to www.solonbackpain.com. Next, charitable giving that makes the most of your money. But first, cheers! And if you toast with a Mai Tai, its title tells how it tastes. Can you translate it from Tahitian? We'll pour out the answer when we return.
My husband and I got into the car and we couldn't do it. We couldn't pick one baby over the other. Coming to Metro changed the entire pregnancy. We actually started to become happy with our situation. We owe a big thank you to Metro. I can't imagine our family without Sam.
Log on to DealChicken.com to save 50 to 90% off. Wonderful Northeast Ohio businesses are waiting for you, from restaurants to spas and everything in between.
There seems to be more than one meaning for the words Mai Tai when you translate it from Tahitian. The true translation turns out to mean very good. But others, including bartender Trader Vic, who concocted the cocktail in 1944, say they have proof that Mai Tai really means out of this world.
You're a giver. That's good. And you want to give to charity. What are some ways to donate that will make the most of your dollars? Certified financial planner Jim Lineweaver is being generous with his time to tell us about a tax-saving tool for charitable giving. Jim is with the Lineweaver Financial Group. Okay, welcome again.
Thank you.
Now, there's a few ways to donate money. Direct gifting, creating a foundation, all this different, but you have a different idea. What's wrong with just the normal, everyday, tried and true method everybody uses?
Well, you can, and as long as it's just a gift right there for you, just cut it to your church, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But if you're really trying to create a legacy or get other people involved, and really try to maybe establish a foundation, so this has maybe a legacy for a couple generations, then you really want to look at some other type of structure. So, I mean, if you have multi-millions of dollars, you can set up a foundation, but they're very complicated and they take a long time. You have to get attorneys involved, you have to do tax filings, you have to meet certain IRS rules and regulations, you got to establish that it's a true charity so you're not actually paying taxes on all this money and gains. It's very complicated.
Oh, long list
and
of
can be
things
very
it sounds
expensive.
like.
Yeah,
So I get it. It's setting up a private foundation like that takes a lot of work, time, fair amount of money.
Yes.
It better be worth it. So what is this other option that you suggest?
Yeah, if you don't have multi-millions of dollars, as most of us don't have, what ends up occurring is that you can set up a donor-advised fund. And what it allows you to do is still contribute money, still have the money go to a charity, and there's also some tax benefits along the way, just like it would be through the normal foundation.
Oh, all right. So it's called a donor-advised fund. So tell us a little bit more details about how that works.
Okay, so what happens is normally when you have assets that kind of appreciate in value, those are some of the best things to do. Like we talked about a couple weeks ago, how you can get a step-up in basis, or in this case, you could donate money to charity if they sell a highly appreciated stock where they're normally a gain. They won't pay any taxes on that. So you can get a benefit of the high value of the gift going to the charity, and the charity can receive the full donation because they won't pay any taxes on that gain.
Oh.
So once that money physically gets to the donor-advised fund, then you still have a little bit of control over that. You're just not giving it to them and they're like a mutual fund. They'll just invest it however they want. You physically have some ability to still say, I'd like to still direct this money to some of these charities within reason. They want to make sure they're legit charities and things. But the good thing about a donor-advised fund is you still have a little bit of control over that money that you gift without giving up any of the deductions.
All right. And you mentioned some good tax savings there. Give us a little bit more detail about that tax savings.
Okay, so like what we had talked about before a couple weeks ago, let's say you had $100,000 in a stock, the cost basis was only $20,000. If you sold it, you'd have to pay a tax capital gain on $80,000 to eventually get your $100,000 to the charity. You could instead of netting out all that tax, you could still just give them the full stock. they'll sell it for $100,000. You get the full deduction on your
You're
taxes.
deducting what it's really worth.
You get the full $100,000, and they get to invest the full $100,000 because they don't have to pay any taxes because they're a nonprofit.
So they don't pay that capital gains tax on the $80,000. That sounds like a good thing. So how can we learn more about this?
Well, there's several websites that you can go to, and some were established right here in Ohio. And one was based on the Cleveland Foundation, so they can log on to www.clevelandfoundation.org and select donor fund types inside. There's in a wide variety. They can log on to the IRS website, or they can also give us our office a call if they'd like more information.
All right. Always, as you always give us, good information. And giving to charity, well, is charitable. It's a charitable thing to do. But there's no reason why you should have to pay taxes on the dollars you donate. And with a donor-advised fund, you can avoid taxes and keep more of your money, which means you can donate even more money. You save, the charity saves. So for more details about this charitable tool, give Jim a call. His number is next.
For more information, call the Lineweaver Financial Group at 1-888-313-4009 or click to www.lineweaver.net. Next, wishing you well. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. The Warehouse District is once again taking it to the streets for their 10th annual Warehouse District Street Festival, Sunday, August 3rd from noon to 8 p.m. The free festivities feature fabulous food, all-day entertainment, an art show, an architectural tour, and much more. To address the need for more details, make yourself at home at www.warehousedistrict.org or get the facts by phone 216-344-3937.
There are so many instructions that can come with your medications. Take at night, take on an empty stomach, take 3 times a day. Well, it's vital that you pay attention to those detailed directions because they can help determine the effectiveness of your drugs. Registered pharmacist Kelly Clavicilla is here to tell us why it's so important as to how we take our prescriptions. Kelly is the Associate Director of Inpatient Pharmacy at Metro Health. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So how come there's so many different ways and so many different times we have to take our pills?
Well, unfortunately, all of the medications tend to work a little differently. Some take longer to absorb than others, and you have to make sure that you take them the way that they're prescribed because you want to make sure that you have the drug in your body for as long as it's intended to be there.
Okay, so let's take a look at a few of the directions. First of all, frequency. Once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. What's that about?
So the once-a-day medications tend to be released into your body over the 24-hour period or over the entire day. So those drugs will stay in your body for the entire day, so you only need to take them once. When you're talking at 3 times a day or twice a day or those sorts of things, those drugs don't remain in your body as long. They're not absorbed. They're absorbed more quickly and released and then excreted more quickly than the other ones, and so you have to take those more frequently.
Okay, so let's talk about timing. Now, what if it doesn't indicate a specific time? When should you take your medication?
Well, what we always recommend is that you take it as soon as you remember, or when you will always remember to take those medications. And the good example that we have is if you have a cup of coffee every morning, to put that medication in your coffee cabinet. So when you get your coffee out, you can take your medication. Now that depends. If it's an AM medication, there are certain medications that you want to take in the morning. For example, Lasix, which is your diuretic or your water pill. You would definitely want to take that in the morning so you're not having to use the restroom all night long.
That would be a bad idea.
Right, right. And there's other medications like thyroid that you need to have on board in the morning so that it works all day. But on the other hand, you have medications that you're going to want to take at night. And those are the ones that are the sleep aids, to help you sleep. Obviously, you want to take those at night. But then there's another class of drugs called the statins, which are your anti-cholesterol medications, and in your body cholesterol is produced at night, so you want to take those drugs at night to counteract the effects of the cholesterol being produced.
Oh, wow. So it does make a big difference.
So it makes a big difference, yes.
I see.
Yes.
Now, and some medications have to be taken with food and others have to be taken on an empty stomach. So what's the difference there?
Right. So with food, sometimes food helps with the absorption of the drugs. It binds with the drugs and helps your stomach take it into the body. Other drugs cause upset stomach, and I think of over-the-counter medications like ibuprofen, Aleve, maybe even aspirin, those sorts of medications.
Probably all taken that too early and gotten that upset stomach.
Right, and so you want to definitely take those with food. Some of the other ones will interact with the food. So for example, there are certain antibiotics that will interact with calcium, so you want to avoid those with, say, dairy products like milk and cheese and things like that. And so you would want to take those on an empty stomach so you get the full absorption.
How about antibiotics? I know those are really important. You have special rules.
Antibiotics, you want to make sure you take the entire course of antibiotics. Even if you're feeling better after a couple days, say you have a 10-day course of antibiotics, you make sure you take all 10 days, even though you're feeling better.
And why is that?
Well, because you want to make sure that you don't promote resistance. So if you get sick again, now you have an infection that may not have been cleared the first time.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, and it could be worse the second time and not respond to the medication. So it's very, very important to take that.
I promise I will take mine.
Okay.
So you also said something about storing your pills in your coffee cabinet, but I thought it should be in the medicine cabinet in your bathroom.
The bathroom is the absolute worst place to store your medications. The humidity in there is not good for drugs. It actually can break down the drugs.
Oh, no.
So the kitchen cabinet is probably the best place to put them. Your cupboard somewhere, but obviously out of the reach of children. You know, you want to make sure that their children aren't there. You want to keep them in a cool, dry place.
Okay. Make them last longer and
Make them last longer.
and have the effectiveness you want.
Correct.
So that's great. So what's the best prescription for taking your prescriptions? Following the instructions. That way you make sure your medications are at their most effective. To learn more, use the information that's coming up next. My thanks to Kelly for prescribing this dose of important information. Thank you.
To learn more, call Metro Health at 216-778-7800 or visit www.metrohealth.org. Next, health insurance headlines. It's time to get up and go, an exercise minute on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, it's Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness. Today we're going to help you work those ever important shoulder cuffs that help to support our rotator cuff. You ready to go?
I am ready to go.
Let's do it. Okay, so this is an upright row using our exercise band. We're simply going to step on the center of the band. We want to kind of offset our feet here so we can make sure we don't lose the band and we don't lose our balance. All we're going to do is start with your hands, palms facing your thighs in front of you. We're going to lead with the elbows, bringing your elbows above your wrists until your fists touch just about the top of your chest, okay? All the way up, all the way down. Remember, good posture. Make sure you're breathing. It's always exhale with exertion and inhale as you're resting. All right, how you doing?
I'm ready to roll my boat out
Look
in
at
Lake Erie
that.
this summer.
You got the breathing down, you got good posture, doing well, excellent. All right, everybody, once again, 12 to 15 repetitions, 3 to 4 sets, and you'll have stronger shoulders. So now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, please send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 23240 Chagrin Boulevard, Suite 450, Beechwood, Ohio, 44122.
We've been told your medical information is supposed to be private, but I bet you still have a healthy skepticism about whether it's actually secure. Brad Gladish is here to prescribe some assurance. Brad is an enterprise security specialist. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I mean, of course, doctors keep files on patients. So what is it that's keeping that information secure?
Sure. Well, in 1996, the United States government passed what's called the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. It's a mouthful.
Yes.
But most people know it by as HIPAA.
Right.
And basically, in general, what HIPAA does is it outlines the security requirements that health insurers and medical providers must follow when they're protecting health information. Now, obviously, the government regulations are extremely important, but at Medical Mutual, our customer information is gold, and we just feel it's the good business practice and the right thing to do.
Okay, so all this information, what kind of information that's included under the HIPAA rules?
Sure. So anything that you would think would be in your typical medical file, past conditions, current conditions, and future conditions that you may have. It could include notes from conversations that your doctors may have had about your treatment or your care. It could also include a lot of information that that other companies that support hospitals and clinics, those are called business associates. So third-party billers, there could be other data providers, and all of these people need this information, and they're holding on to it for a legitimate purpose.
Okay. There's a lot of people, though, it sounds like, when you're going to the doctor, and then there's the transcription person, and there's the billing person, and there's the insurance company. That's a lot of different people.
It is, yes.
How do we make sure that that is all, still secure?
Sure. Well, a lot of those entities will be under the laws of HIPAA, so therefore it's considered protected health information, and there's the rules they have to follow. For example, HIPAA dictates what people can do with this information, who can see it, how they can share it. There's a rule in there called the minimum necessary rule. And basically, when people need to use this information, they have to use the minimum necessary to perform that task. Now, there is one caveat. If a doctor is talking about your care or your treatment, they are able to disclose more information than the minimum necessary.
Because that might be actually needed.
Absolutely.
Okay, so maybe minimum necessary for a biller might just be name, address, and code or something like that. Okay.
Right.
Now, systems are being hacked all the time. Social Security numbers are always getting out there. How do we know that the system doesn't get hacked by into one of these providers of service,
Sure.
or people who have the information?
Sure, absolutely. So for an organization to begin protecting sensitive information, it all starts with a risk treatment plan, which allows them to identify risk, address the risk, and hopefully prevent the risk from happening. So some of the common practices that many organizations do, including Medical Mutual, is use passwords or PIN numbers, which makes the information only available to people who have that password. You can encrypt the information, which jumbles it around and makes it unreadable, except to people who have a key to decrypt it and then view it. But the important thing is you also want to have accountability. Who's accessing the information? When are they accessing it? And what are they doing with it?
Okay, so the HIPAA rules cover all of this stuff with all those different providers, and it's safe, right?
Well, it's safe for those who are under the laws of HIPAA, okay? So there are a lot of other organizations out there that need legitimate access to the information. Employers, workmen compensation carriers, and life insurance companies. They're all asking health information. Fortunately, the privacy and security of protected information is a hot topic right now. So there are other laws in place that hopefully those organizations will be under
Still protect
to still protect your information. Yes.
All right, so let's give a HIPAA hooray to Brad for joining us today to explain these privacy policies. To learn more, use the information that's coming up next.
Find out more about Medical Mutual of Ohio by visiting their website, www.medmutual.com/2014 options, or call 1-866-488-3266. Next, don't let your computer force you into probate at death.
Hilltop Village Apartments is retirement living at its best. Residents enjoy a wide variety of activities and living services with all large first-floor apartments, private screened-in patios with beautiful park views, daily dining room meals, free laundry facilities, 24-hour staff, and so much more. Enjoy safe, comfortable independence at a very affordable price. Call today for a tour and learn how you can get your first month's rent free. Hilltop Village Apartments, retirement living at its best.
Did you miss a phone number or website? Then here's your second chance, because we're going to list all of that information again. Then we'll be back with a digital to-do list before death. You've named your spouse or kids on your accounts. You've seen a lawyer and prepared your legal documents, including a will, financial power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney, and maybe a trust to avoid probate. You've done everything you can to simplify your estate, right? Not necessarily. In this new age of technology, more and more people have created a mess for heirs when they die, without even knowing about it. Here to explain is my very tech-savvy law partner, Mike Solomon.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Mike. So what is the problem here?
Well, let me give you an example. It's a lot easier. A woman recently passed away, and she did everything. She had the will, the trust, did all the documents she needed, but she also did a lot of her banking online, had email accounts, and kept photos and music all online. So she had everything online.
So what happened? What was the problem?
Well, the problem is that her children didn't know her username, didn't know her password, so they couldn't get on anything. And then when they contacted Google and Yahoo and some of the other online sites, it was like a brick wall. She couldn't get any information, or the kids couldn't get information, so we had to go through probate process. Eventually we got it all, but it delayed it many, many months.
Oh boy. So how do we protect ourselves in the digital world?
Well, one thing is make a list of all of your digital assets, bank accounts and music and photos and the passwords, the user IDs, put them on some sort of document, maybe put them in your if you have a savings deposit box, put it in there. If you're a trusted friend or somewhere that your family knows, or give them to your attorney. So you have this list so that everyone can get access to it after that time. That would be an important thing to do.
Maybe even print out hard copies so they know what they're looking for.
That's right. And maybe just print out some recent financial statements you might have, just so that everyone kind of knows what you have online.
Anything else we can do?
Well, you could provide a document that to make it easier for people to have access to this information, because even after you pass away, sometimes they won't let you get online and look at this stuff. You want to have a document written, and so go to an elder law attorney, maybe have a document written to allow you to access these online assets.
Oh, good information. So how about my iTunes collection? Can I pass that on?
Well, it's a strange thing. Even though when you bought records in the old days, you owned the records. You don't own the iTunes information.
No.
It's a license, and it's a license for your life, typically. When you pass away, the license gone. So all those sort of things you might have had, you might want to check it out and see what the rules are, so if you can pass along, but usually you can't.
All right, wow. Well, we do live in a digital age. Don't leave a mess for your heirs by failing to take steps to pass along your digital property and not just your physical property. For more information, give Mike a call, maybe on your digital smartphone.
Call Budish, Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information, or to schedule a speaker for your organization, or log on to www.bssplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, Not Feeling Your Finest, we'll offer advice for what ails you. Then, they're your mom and dad, but now you're parenting them. We'll help set the new rules for your relationship. Plus, we'll share mouth makeovers that will bring a smile to your face. But until then, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
Would you like to join our kitchen conversation? All you have to do is call toll-free 1-877-765-1543 and leave us your question, name, and phone number. Or log on to www.golden.tv for all the latest information and show updates.